preparing the live stream. That's good. And it probably says coming up here now. Yeah, this meeting is being live streamed. So what we'll do now is just bear with me a couple of moments and I'll see if it's come onto the Facebook Live on my phone, and then we can see people swearing and making comments and telling us where to go and everything else.
What's she talking about, weirdo?
Yeah, what the hell are they going on about now? What's this? CC? Oh God almighty, CC. I've become Italian. What's on your mind? Nothing. Everything. Nothing. Here we go. Here we go. Come on, son. Yep, there we go. And if I press on that there now, Raven Sirius, hiya. Annie, my darling. Shawning. Don't be causing any trouble now, Shanine. Right. Nikki, nice to see you. And who else have we got here? Make a pathway. Louise, I wonder who that is.
Who's that?
That's that weirdo, you know, that other northern monkey from Manchester. Right. Anyway, my love, how are you?
Really good, thank you, Joe. Really good. How are you?
Yes, I'm plodding along. I've had a hell of a busy day, but you know, what can you do? You've just got to get on with it, haven't you, really? Make the best of it.
Yeah, and you're showing up. Talking
well, exactly.
To this.
Yeah. Show up, but he say shut up to me, not show up. What did he say? Learn to listen, listen to learn. Or in Manchester and Liverpool and northern sort of ways, they say, take the cotton wool out of your ears and shove it in your gob. Right. And that's one of the finer arts of communication skills, is to zip it and listen and feel what's really being said between the lines. And I honestly think that would be a gift, really, if everybody could start tuning into their heart's discernment, because to me, that's where all the truth lays. I think in here, when we've got these two little devils up here, the left and the right hemispheres, as far as I'm concerned, they're full of nonsense that's being fed to us beyond our permission, actually, because we've been so naive. We've been fed with crap for many, many years, right? And I think it's almost like lots and lots of people are sort of waking up to the fact that we've been conned, we've been duped, and we've been manipulated in all sorts of ways.
Shock horror.
What?
Shock horror. I know.
Yeah, this is true. Lisa Marie, please believe me, you may start seeing these, right? But, you know, I got a big kick up the bottom, right, a long, long time ago. And I've no idea when it happened, you know, when I woke up and when I did this, that, and the other. But I've always had a sense of, and lots of people say this, that I didn't quite fit in, you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't even fit into my family, to be honest with you. I even asked my mum and dad, are you sure that I'm your son? I swear to you, I asked them. And my mother burst out laughing. She said, what do you mean? I said, I just want to know, Mum, you know, because you've been awful friendly with the milkman for a bit now, you know. So, but no, I even didn't feel part of my own family for a long, long time, you know. So,
the black sheep.
I was really the white
sheep.
Really.
The rainbow sheep.
Oh, maybe the rainbow sheep. Yeah, because as a child, I hung off every word that my mum and dad said because I didn't want to upset them, you know. And I became an altar boy early on, and I read a lot of those Christian things, you know, and I tried to follow the principles in that. I was terrified of the priest. I was terrified of any sort of authoritarian figures. And I sort of always sensed that some of these adults, right, weren't quite being honest or truthful. You know, I sort of was able to sense for a long time. And I used to say to my mum, I'm not too sure about that priest, Mum. Oh, don't be silly, you know, don't be saying those things about the holy priest, you know, go to hell. Shit, I was in hell from about 3 years of age because of all this crap, you know.
Yeah.
What I love about you and what I love about what you're doing is you go for it, you know, you sort of, you're fearless, really.
Yeah.
And so am I, but I wasn't always. I used to be a very, very frightened child. And now I couldn't give two shits about anything really.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's a function of age, it could be, but I don't think so, because there's something more that's sort of inspiring me and driving me forward to create something more honest and open. And I'm not a saint, you know what I mean? I've got loads and loads of defects of character that I'm quite happy with, actually. You know what I mean?
I like my quirks and my, you know, fully divine and human. I love the human, and I love the northern human. You know, I still love a pint, I swear. You know, I've got this funny accent, but yet I know the bigger picture, and I know why I'm here. Certainly right now, I know what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
Big time.
I'm not pretending anymore in this sort of mock humility that, oh, you know, I see a little bit of no, I see things as clear as day, as clear as day. And when's the time for me to express these truths in the moment? And sometimes I get pulled back to say, shut your gob, Joe, you don't want to be doing it here. And in other times I get, go for it, son, and fully express yourself.
Yeah.
You know.
And feathers get ruffled.
Feathers get ruffled, yeah. And acorns as well, because isn't that the sort of logo? Feathers and an acorn. Is that an acorn that on your logo?
What is it? It's a pine cone, I think.
Oh, is it? So it's a pineal thing.
Yeah, I just threw it together really quickly the other day. But it's obviously Con, because it was my kid self that came up with that name. But then I had a real powerful encounter with a yew tree. So that's my sort of homage to the yew tree. And of course, the tree of knowledge.
Marvelous. Well, I love the tree of knowledge and the tree of life and the Kabbalistic 12-sphere tree of life now.
Yes.
You know, because it was for a long time considered to be a 10th sphere with 2 hidden spheres, but apparently 2 have come back online. And during this great big shift of consciousness that we're going through, the gifts from those 2 spheres are like reassembling things and realigning us with the truth as well. So I don't think that anybody's going to get away with having to face themselves.
No,
not necessarily anybody else. This is all about, in my view, Lisa, to be honest, the whole purpose of human life is sovereignty and empowerment and self-actualization. And I think everything seems to be set up at some sort of cosmic level for us to emerge. Now, when I say us, I don't mean the ego self or the personality or even Joe Delaney, right? I mean the essential thing that's driving this process, the thing that animates us. And as you know, animus anima means soul, you know, and that is the animating principle that's driving this body called Joseph Peter Aloysius Delaney. I've got no idea what I'm talking about here.
I love that. And that's a brilliant name.
Well, Aloysius, I chose Aloysius because that's my confirmation name. You know, as Catholics, when you're coming up to be confirmed, right, you can choose a saint's name. And I can remember kneeling in St. Joey's Church and looking to the right, and there was this fella, right, with a skull and crossbones in his hand. You know, he had a skull. And I got a sense of, right, that's the one you want to go for. And I said, what's his name? And he said, Aloysius. I said, oh, what? I thought, I'll never be able to spell that. You know, I was quite good at spelling. I didn't swear then, obviously, but I think, flipping heck. You know. Anyway, I found out about Saint Aloysius. He was a bit of a lad as well, you know what I mean? And, and funnily enough, I'm pretty sure of it.
A lot of the saints were. I've been reading up on a few as well. Very they're like, nah, this is the path. And you know, they get shaken, people attempt to shake them off it, and they won't get them off it. And this is what we're doing now. Doesn't matter what you say, doesn't matter what you do, there's no shaking this.
No, I won't be budged anymore. And don't get me wrong, I listen to everything that everybody's got to say. I do, because I love the Desiderata. It's a poem, you know, that Desiderata.
Oh, I love that one.
And it says, even the dull and ignorant have their story. And when I'm listening to some people, I think, even the dull and ignorant have their story, Joe.
And you try not to smile.
Yeah. There might be a message in this for you, you know what I mean? And then I think, oh no, I've had enough, I've got to go, you know what I mean? But who knows? It's, to me, everything's a laugh at the moment. It's not always like that. Sometimes I wake up and I think, I want this over with now because I can't be doing with it anymore. you know.
Well, you're still really in it, you know, you're still working inside these systems.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know how you do it. I'm too outspoken and gobby.
Well, no, so am I. I mean, so am I, and that is one of the problems, because if I get the big feeling to go, I think I have to go with this in and sort the consequences, you know. But then I can feel when my head's ticking over, I can feel that working, and it wants to speak, and I think, you shut it, you. And I try and listen to this bit, and you know, I seem to fail loads of times, but I don't care about it anymore, really.
Yeah.
You know, and I tell the doctors that I work with, and some high-powered professors of medicine who are my mates, and I say to them, you're basically talking through your backside, you know, because the way forward, right, is not medication anymore, you know. And medication has its place. I'm not opposed to anything at all if it's used in the right amount at the right time for the right condition, you know.
But it was only up at like since the 1920s that all kicked off. Before that, it was all plants, and a lot of it is derived from plants anyway, isn't it?
Of course it is, like digitalis, for example, you know, foxglove and stuff like this, all heart medications. But the thing about medicine and the synthesized version is it misses out on the essential parts, the ingredient, the homeopathic essential bit, you know. And my wife, you know, and she's into homeopathy and all those sorts of things, and she used pendulum dowsing and all that sort of business, which I do myself. And, you know, I'd be struck off now if they found out. But I don't care, because I say to these doctors now, the way forward will be more inclined towards medical physics than anything else, because this is really about physics and subtle energies and different dimensions and frequencies. And they go, what are you talking about? I'll say, oh, come back next week when you've got some time to listen, you know.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. You're right. No, keep going. I agree. Sound frequency. That's what I do with the ritual bathing. The kits that we put together, that's a whole kit, and it's really inexpensive, and it's just a way. It's got instructions step by step, but we're working with the plants, we're working with water memory, water consciousness, sound frequency, and herbs and crystals. You know, it's a whole vibratory medicine package, and it works.
I know it does, and it's my heart too, right? Because 25 years ago, I was introduced to something called Radionics, right? And they're the people who do, you know, the Soil Association, you know, and they do the dowsing, you know, when they got two coat hangers and they're doing that like that to find water. Well, I was introduced to that, right? And I was already in touch with the Reiki feelings and stuff like that. Yeah. But I really fell into it. And that's what led me into the sort of scientific understanding of what the chakras are, what the meridians are, what the nadial system is, right? And there's all sorts of axial and axiotonal lines that actually run through the body. And what disease is just simply an obstruction to the free flow of this spiritual vital energy, you know. And pain is an obstruction. And what actually happens is what I get shown in my head is that the point where there's an obstruction, on one side of the obstruction, there's no flow left, but on the other side, it's being bombarded with high energy. And it's that high energy bombardment of the cells in that area that cause the cell to defend itself, right? And then that irritability causes the cell to become stronger, and then it starts to infiltrate other parts then. Now, if that's not what cancer is, then I don't know what the hell is. So we don't need to fight that, you know. We hear all this, we're going to fight cancer, we're going to do this. No, we need to love it. And I'm not being funny here, because when I say love, I'm not talking about oochie coochie, and I'm not talking about that. Give it a cuddle. Yeah, no, that's fine, that's all part of it. I'm talking about the power of the universe, really, you know. And if my colleagues heard me now, there'd be a knock on the door, you know, put this white coat on and come walk this way, son, you know. So to go back to the irritation, right, I think that most of us are in this meta irritation state, and our emotions, right, actually can make that worse. And so if we don't know how to become more understanding and able to regulate our emotional state, then it's going to cause this dis-ease or ill-at-easeness, within us. And this is what I look out for now, Lisa. If I feel ill at ease or diseased or diseasy, I need to step, out of whack, out of a line. I need to not take any decisions or make them there and then. I need to go, hang on, I don't feel right. I need to step back. I need to reconnect with what I call source or prime creator or whatever you want to call this thing. Reconnect and say, why do I feel out of whack here? Right. And I'll get, because you've just said no to that person, but you really need to go and say yes. Or you've just, you've just said yes when you should say no. That's probably the more common one. You know, if someone asks me for a favor, because now my time is so precious to me now. And I regulate my time by the choices that I make.
Yeah, you have to.
And to say no to people, right, it was hard, but it isn't anymore, because I get a feeling of no, just say no, you're busy, right? And people get offended, you know yourself. People get offended when you put your hand up and block them and say, no, I'm sorry. Go on. No, right, no.
But the right ones really respect that. And then that's what you notice, the further you go on this path of truth is, ones fall away and your circle gets smaller, but it's so joyful, isn't it? The ones that you end up being surrounded by just totally and utterly see you and respect everything. And you start to work together as one unit. It's just, this is what we're doing now, as you know, it's just phenomenal.
It is.
This disease in the body, it's coming from a lot of people that they don't know who they are, because they've spent their entire life trying to fit in and trying to behave and be good and do as they're told and trying to please the parents or please, and impress this person, and it's bullshit. All of it's bullshit. And this is why we're opening these schools now, so we can get the children and go and just keep this space open and let them speak their truth without being told, no, you need to sit down, shut up, be quiet. Because quite frankly, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Because the children that come to my workshops are, my God, they are next level. They are next level. They are bringing gifts here that most people don't even know we're capable of yet. So they haven't seen anything yet. But this is why people are getting sick. This is why people have pain in the body. This is why people are getting migraines constantly. This is why people are, struggling with skin. It really shows up in the skin for a lot of people, doesn't it?
It does.
I get an occasional bit of skin fungus, and that shows me that the mushrooms are helping with a death. Because that's what they do, don't they? They help with the death. So I know, okay, I'm shedding another layer. But it is fascinating, but it is just drop. You're right, you've got to get still. Everyone needs to get still. And as you know, and we know that Louise and myself, we spent 4 years completely alone, pretty much getting really still, really quiet, and I basically slept in the forest for a lot of it, and just to get really, really quiet so I could hear. And then, and the inner child, it's a true essence. It's our true essence, our seeing that comes through. And then if you allow that to lead, really cool shit happens.
I agree. And I had my commando time, and people don't know that I was homeless and lived on the streets and was begging, but I was still on the drink then. And I used to be going around picking up dog ends and stuff like that, because I was smoking then as well. And, it was horrible, but I look back at the time, I couldn't understand, because there was still a part of me thinking, what's going on with me? Right. Yeah. And I was sort of in that place, but it was learning. I see now it was learning. It didn't feel like learning at the time, but it's almost like I signed up for this. Right. And I know I did at one level. I know I damn well did, because when I tried to do myself in, which I did, and I made really couple of good, serious attempts to do it, right, which didn't work for obvious reasons. I was almost told, hang on. If you can't take a joke, you shouldn't have signed the form, right? So, so then I thought, hang on a second, I'm trying to die here, and you're some part of me is like laughing. And I got, son, you signed up for this, right? We're going to turn you around now, kick you up the arse, and we're going to show you one breath at a time, the actions to take in order. And people will see that you're getting better because you were a hopeless case, you know. And I got told this, and this is the most important thing for anybody who's feeling terrible and wants to do themselves in. There's no such thing as a hopeless case.
No.
That's very important now, because there's a spark in everybody that if you tune in, it's like a key. If you tune into your heart, and that's what I hope and you hope to show people is, don't be listening to external stuff. Listen to it by all means, but sit it in your heart and think, is there a message in this here for me? And if there isn't one, go deep in within yourself and almost say, hello, inner guru, essential self, I am presence, or whoever you are in there, like next evolution of me, right? Yeah. What do I need to do next?
Well, I have a really simple, even simpler way, if I may share with you, is just to go in and speak. I say, so if I was talking to you now, I'd say, go in and ask little Joe, what does he want? Ask little Joe, you know, and I say, you know, and I hear people saying words to me about themselves, and they're all really negative, really cruel. I said, you know, if they've got children, I said, would you speak to your child that way? Or if your child came to you with these issues, would you tell them to shut up and stop being so stupid? No. What would you say to the child? And they're able to give me the answer. And then I go, there you go. There's your answer. You know, and often when I get them to tune in, I say, right, little you stood in front of you now. And with all of these issues, and very often they'll burst into tears, which is beautiful. You know, they'll have a big release. I go, right, what does she need? Ask her what she needs and just give her that. And just start, you know, just start. But every day, I literally, that's how I started to get myself back, was to start listening to little Lisa again, because she was just totally, I'd abandoned her completely. And, you know, quite rightly, she was a bit pissed off with me and, you know, really sad. But the first thing she said was, I love dinosaurs. So we went to the Natural History Museum. And I could feel the light going on again and getting brighter and brighter. And so ever since then, every single thing I do, I ask little Lisa. She's the one in the show.
That's so beautiful. I mean, I put my profile picture up of little Joe, and that's when he was 7 years of age, right? And I took him by the hand a long, long time ago, or he took me by the hand.
Right.
It's like that. It's like that paradoxical thing, really, where you think that you're going to help him. But and I know this, and I know this to be true, and I can feel it. Here it comes now. It's the children that are going to save this planet, right? And we need to listen to what's coming, because apparently, you know, and you know, they're coming through a lot cleaner than we were. If you know, and so they don't have to get through so much, but we, as experienced 3D people as well, we can actually help them as well, help them to navigate through things. And my job is, it's almost like a Tibetan thing where you watch the seed growing, right, to find out what sort of direction it's going in. And then you feed it water, you feed it whatever it needs, you know. And some of it might be like sort of hardy, rough rose type, you know, and some might be a really precious orchid, but they'll have their particular gifts, you know. And it's like that thing that I always say is, our children are not our children. They come through us, not from us. But we're in a society where we think we own them. We think that with the best intentions, we can guide them, mostly based upon the mistakes that we've made. And it's almost like saying, I'm not having you making the same mistakes that I made. And so you start shoving them in the direction of your failures, right?
Yeah.
It's another trap. It's another condition. It's another program, you know. So it's to help parents to understand. They already know what they are. Just feed them the water and watch them grow.
They're masters. I mean, what most people don't realize is that these are masters coming in as your children. So this isn't their first barbecue, right? Nope. So they do know what they're doing. And so if you really tune in and listen, because they'll be sharing really important information with you that will help you on your path. And this is why, you know, these children coming in now, I see it. They, you know, they're the ones, I get their soul. They're coming, they're giving me message. I mean, it's busy here with these children. I even have the ones that have yet to incarnate that are around me often. And I've got one that's in the house here. And so they are the revolution. They are them. So most people, if you're listening to this now and you've got these children, you'll know if you've got these children, because they are refusing to go to these institutions, unnatural institutions. And if they don't have the words or the voice to do it, they're physically, their bodies are refusing to go to these institutions. You know, I'm hearing stories of, you know, children, really small children that are depressed, they're self-harming, they've got eating disorders, all the like crazy shit. And it's because we're not listening to them. And these institutions are not for them. They're not for them.
I agree entirely. And I feel very strongly about this. You know, we have these schools, the Montessori schools, the Rudolf Steiner schools and all that, you know, each to me, because I've studied quite a lot of these different aspects, each to me brings a certain aspect in, you know, but in essence, if you become more sensitive, then you intuitively know what they need next, because you can feel the presence that's with them. You can feel the guidance that you're being given to help them as well. And it's a sort of, it's a what's the word I'm looking for? It's a collaboration really of two souls, right? And I love it, you know, and I think as well, there's things like posture's important as well. You know, simple physical postural things as well, because I work with a lot of kids who are so tense. They've already got chronic muscle tension. They're developing like kyphosis. You watch, some kids have got, you know, and their backs go up like this. So they've got like an exaggerated out curvature of the thoracic spine, you know. So, and that's because they're so intent on having to get things done, you know. And I see this clearly.
These exams and everything, these tests. And,
the SATs are on now, you know, and there's loads of kids that I know who are taking the SATs and they're stressed to buggery.
They really are, Joe.
And so the whole point is the system is upside down as well, because here we go, because it's driven by caput, and caput means head. And that's why I put that thing as the other day is capitalism is the problem, really.
Love that. Yeah.
Okay, so capitalism is diminishing now because it's disintegrating, but it doesn't mean it's totally going, because we need the head, but the heart's got to lead the head. And it's been the other way around for a long time.
13,000 years, is it?
How many?
13,000.
Someone said 13,000. I thought it was 13,001, but you know,
oh, really?
Let's not fall out. But in essence, it's been going on for even a lot longer than that, really. You know, but that's another story, really, at different dimensions. So the point is, the masculine, right? The masculine is not bad. It's just been, it's misguided, you know. So there's a whole thing about feminism now versus masculine. This is, I feel very strongly, and I was told this over 30 years ago, for by this time we must cease fighting anybody or anything. And I like what Buckminster Fuller says is, you're wasting your energy, right, fighting against what's already happened, right? Why don't you just create something completely new? So that becomes redundant, right? So don't give it any energy anymore.
Just go, I don't like that. Create something then, create what you do want. It's really that fucking simple. Seriously.
But it is, isn't it? Well, how do I know what I want? Do what you enjoy. Do you feel enthusiasm?
Why are you fighting what you don't want? Because you're keeping it in your reality. So but going on the masculine, my masculine was in charge until I was 40. I was always driving. And then my feminine woke up and she's like, right, step aside, we're in charge now. And I was like, what is this? What is going on? And I really had to get to know my feminine. And my masculine kept trying to make things happen. And nothing that I did would work. You know, it would just fall flat. So I had to literally learn to just be completely still and receive and start to receive. And then my child came in and they've all merged and it's all one. Brilliant. But now my masculine is chuffed to bits because it's the masculine that is driving this school forward and building it basically. The child is going, I want this. And the masculine is building it.
I love it, you know.
All in one. This is what we all are.
My birthday is March the 19th, and that's the feast day of Saint Joseph the Worker. Right. And the whole point is, and it's the last day of the year as well, because the last day of Pisces is first day of spring the next day. So it's almost like I've come full circle in these things, really, you know. And, you know, and it doesn't matter whether that's true or not. What makes sense to me is how I feel, you know. And I don't even have any beliefs anymore, you know, because I really don't know what the hell's going on. People say to me, well, you know, have you got a plan? I say, well, I've got some sort of a sense of the direction. Well, what are you going to do when you get there? I've got no idea. I'll find out when I get there, you know that one, I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
Yeah.
Well, that's my life now. I have a sort of a flexible thing. It looks like I'm going in this direction. I wonder what's going to happen today. But that didn't come overnight. That's taken a lot of discipline, really.
It does. Learn these things. Takes a lot of unlearning, doesn't it? But now, then once you're on what I call the magical mystery tour, absolutely. Joy, every minute is a joy. Like, I mean, God, I've had things happen today that you would, I mean, you know, I was on Facebook Marketplace just buying little cheap bits and pieces for our school in the shop. And I found this. Brilliant. I was like, we need us, because it's a rose temple as well. I was like, we need a swan in there. And I went to go and pick this up from this lady. And all of a sudden I said, oh, it's going to go in her school. She said, oh yeah, my son. She said he studied law, but now he's gone into musical theatre. She said, I think he's one of those, what do you call them? A crystal or a rainbow child? This is the conversations I'm having now with complete strangers.
See, I'm having it with medical people as well now.
Brilliant.
Right. And they're coming to me because they're stressed, the buggery and falling apart, you know what I mean? Yeah. So they say, you know, that stuff that you were going on about a few years ago, and I think, oh, well, how's you doing? I said, well, it's just a technique. Let me just show you. So we need to come out of your head. Let's just put my hand on your heart like that. Now just relax. And like, what's that feeling you say? And I say, no, hang on. It's just because you're relaxing, right? And what happens then is, you know, their heart starts to open, because I ask permission of their soul. Do you know what I mean? You know, you've got to go through like a permission thing. And I say, look, your soul, right? I don't say out loud. I say, am I all right to do this with this person? Yeah, go on. They're right for it, you know. So I put the hand on the heart, right? And I can feel the energy opening up then. And then they start to do a bit of a swaying thing, and they look at me as if to say, what's that? And I'll say, it's just that you're relaxing now. Your head's not in control and your body's trying to reset itself. And they go, oh, fair enough. These are medical people, you know what I mean? Fair enough. And temporarily, right, they get banjaxed by the flow, right? And then I leave them to it then. I say, you don't need me for that now. All you need to do is this heart-centered breathing, right? And that'll temporarily relieve you from all the stuff that's going on in your head. Here's something that's happened as well. I got a thing. I work at Edge Hill University. And they have this international conference every year about communication across the world, you know, and most of their thing is about AI. And I thought that was paradoxical, because I said, I'd like to do a workshop at this. I thought, I just got the push. I'd like to do a workshop, right? Is there any chance? Well, what will it be? And I said, well, because I got given the thing, you know, it'll be about the scientific role of the heart in reducing cognitive overload and creating space for inspiration and insight. And they went, that sounds good. You can have a slot. So I'm doing an hour's thing at this conference where I'll be reintroducing all these academic boffins, right, to their hearts, right? And I was laughing my head off, you know. I'll send you a copy of the thing anyway, you know, because is it going to go out? Can other people watch? I think so. No, I don't know whether it'll be. No, I think you have to pay to do it. But if I can get hold of my presentation, then obviously I'll put it up on Facebook.
Yeah, share it far and wide.
Yeah, but what they've helped me with, Lisa, is that they've helped me to bring some neuroscience into spirituality, because to me they're the same. You know, we've got on the one hand here science, and here's spirituality. Science reduces things more and more and more. Spirituality expands things. But what people don't realize is sooner or later they meet and they start the whole dance again. You know what I mean? You know, so that's what this is about to me. You know, it's about going bigger, going smaller to get bigger and stuff like this. It's that infinity thing that just goes on in a spiral, really. You know. Yeah,
it is. It's like science is expanding.
It is, and I don't think, and I think I was going to put a thing up before, is let go and be done to. You know, we don't have to do anything anymore. You just have to surrender, and you surrender to win. You don't surrender to lose and give in and all that. It's not about that. You surrender your head and you allow your heart to fill the gap then.
And it just gets better and better and better and better and better. You know, it really, really, really does. The more you let go, the better life is.
It's true. And, you know, there's so many different things that are coming up. I get a big thing now is about cleaning up our own act and cleaning our side of the street up now. This is for the adults, really, because I think that's what we need to do is we need to turn around, face ourselves and find out what we're afraid of, you know what I mean? And like you said before is with the guidance of this inner sort of child, if you like, or if you want to be scientific about it, I mean, almost like this emotionally suppressed side of our nature, right? What starts to come out, there may be feelings that emerge. And in the Western society, we don't like to show people that we're being disturbed in any way. So we cut our throat off and we put this pretend thing on that everything's, how are you? I'm fine, you know. And fine means, what does fine mean? It means something like fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and something beginning with A, you know.
Yeah, that's so true, isn't it? But then, and then when you do let go, because, you know, I let go and I fully unleash the crazy, fully. I let my freak flag fully fly, and you know what? And people around you, they're like, "Whoa, what is going on with her?" And oh, I'm so glad I did, because you know, we've got so much pent up inside of us that there's a lot to come out, and it's okay to let it out. And if you know, people might point and laugh and judge or whatever, fuck them.
Yeah,
that does not matter. This is really important. This is really important. So let it all out. Let it all out, and then. Like I say to people now, where I am, where we are, miracles, where we live, miracles aren't a rare occurrence. They're every day. They're normal. Every single day I experience miracles. It is normal. And that's how it's supposed to be.
I couldn't agree more. And I think you get to live in inspiration and intuition. You know, you don't really have to need your head anymore as such for any, you know, inspiration, because it doesn't come from there. It comes from there in me.
Right out of the heart every time.
So I was going to say about that Buckminster Fuller, because he was a clever fellow. I don't know whether you know about him, but he said that school, as it's set up in the West, de-geniuses us. It de-geniuses us. Because
big time.
Every single child is born a genius. They have their skills, right? And each has got a key or a frequency, right, to this great big harmonic universe that we're going forward to create. And so, you know, without them, really, right, it's still out of tune. So this is almost like a retuning or creating a new tune, right? But it's much more harmonious, you know, because if you just look out of the window, all you're seeing there is the past. That's already manifested. So it's already come through this whole process of mind and it's being materialized. So it's pointless fighting against that, really. That's what I'm saying. So it's to look at it, see how it's being directed, and almost like turn the other cheek and start creating, because that's all being created from the head, really, capitalistic, really. So it's to turn the other cheek, look in a different direction and go with this flow. And once you get on the flow, you sort of ride it, don't you then? You know?
Yeah. And I remember being 6 years old, sat in primary school going, what is this place? This, I just thought it was absolutely ridiculous. And that I couldn't read the books that I wanted to read and learn about what I wanted to learn. And so I made a promise to myself then that one day I'm going to start my own school.
Well, no, I read your thing before, and I think that's marvelous. I've mentioned to you before, I was completely the opposite. I followed every single instruction that was given to me. And
I was hardwired not to.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but maybe I was hardwired to have to go through that, you know. And so I see it as a process or a purpose. But when I found drink at about 14 and 15, kapow, something disinhibited me and the pressure was released, you know what I mean? And you said the word before, impress. I don't have to impress anybody now, right? Because that's pressure, right? And there's suppression, repression, compression, and everything else. And the way to let go of that is to express from the core of your being the thing that's trying to come out and express itself, you know. And there's no time now to hide your talents and your skills and your attributes and your abilities under the bushel, right?
We
It's
all
time to
have
say,
them
look,
as well. We all have them.
of course. And you can't obviously, you know, for those people listening, you can't obviously have as many as Lisa and me have got, right?
Sorry.
But the point is, this is what I see clearly. There are 12 spheres of consciousness.
Yeah. And the 12
possible.
strands of DNA.
12 strands of DNA.
12
Also,
apostles.
12 apostles, 12 cranial nerves, 12 disciplines, 12 vocations, right? But there are 12 compartments that are available in the mind of every human being, right? And I think if we let go now, the energies that will pour from the heart will settle them down, and they'll all come together to work and to go forward for the good of themselves and also for humanity. And that sounds like a big, massive thing, but I feel this so much, you know. But not only that is, you know, when you're in love and, you know, people can say to you, you know, hey, big nose, right? And you go, I know, yeah.
Exactly.
And
you don't
and
care,
you can
do
say,
you?
like you can say, you're the dickhead, you. And you go, yeah, I know, yeah. Lovely to see you. And nothing can touch you. And that's because when you're in love, your heart's open and flowing. And that protects you. That gives you the shield against anybody who wants to have a go at you, you know, because you can't even see it.
You become untouchable. You do.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that phrase, untouchable, because, you know, there's a paradox there. In the untouchable in India, they were the ones that people had to keep away from, weren't they? You know.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, but there's a lot of geniuses came out of that, really, right? Because they were cast aside, they were living on meager stuff and all that, but something in them drove them forward and stuff like that.
That same could be said for us working class and underclass even.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me onto all that sort of stuff, you know, the dictatorship proletariat, right, and all that sort of business, you know. But these are things that I didn't know, you know, and there's all sorts of things flying into me, just saying you're being controlled, you're being manipulated, only if you allow it.
Only
and
if
and when you feel this strong, you go like that, excuse me, thanks very much for the offer, but no thanks.
Yeah.
And I really mean it. No thanks.
Yeah. That's it.
There's
nobody, you know, they say, you know, there's nobody controlling us. There are attempts to. In fact, that's all gone now, in truth. It's all gone. It's all ended. It's complete. All we're seeing is the storyline, the remnants, because it can't all disappear and be switched off like that. No. So we're seeing it'll start to fade away and fade away and fade away. So what is happening now is the new is here. The new world is here, and the new communities and the new schools and everything is here. It's all here, and it's being built as we speak. So if this is what your heart desires, you can find the places that are either already built or already being built. And so with what I'm doing now, if anybody wants to be a part of it, this is not mine. This is for all. So it's already happening. You just need to turn away and just change the channel.
Well, I agree. And we've got other friends across the world who are doing the same thing, you know.
Yeah.
We've got, like, you know, Kate from Utopia.
Yeah.
And from Texas, you know. She's on the same
to a friend
sort
of hers tomorrow, actually, Ashley.
Well, I was going to say Ashley Lee. Well, Ashley Lee, again, you know, she's been pushing this forward or going with the flow of it now for a long time now.
Great.
You know, and she had to go through all sorts of trials and tribulations to come out, you know. But my thing again is that there's no special children, that every single child is special. And that's really important to me, that, you know, if people find themselves in certain places, it's probably because they're being guided to a particular school, guided to a particular reading or something like that. Is to try and go with the feeling that they're being guided and to look at where the direction that they're going in, really.
Yeah, pay attention to the signs because they're everywhere. So, I mean, after I met with that lady talking about her crystal sun, I was walking past a charity shop and my eyes caught this painting of a lamb, and it was just really cheery. And I just looked at it, and right underneath it was this.
Yeah.
And then, so I was like, I have to buy it. So I bought it, and I just pulled it out of the bag just before I spoke to you. And it was wrapped in a piece of newspaper that says this. So, loud and clear.
And Christ, it didn't say, what's that one? You will own nothing and be happy.
I've done that.
Yeah. Oh,
if you
same
can get
here.
to that point and be happy, then yeah, you're on a
Done
roll
all that
there.
one, yeah. But then that I see that clearly. It's like a parallel universe in reverse. You know, that there's almost like there's one force that's trying to. It's saying the words, and the words sound very sweet, and you know, and you know, oh, what a good idea. You know, we'll go on about that sustainability and things. But it's like a big, massive. Well, we know what it is anyway. But then there's the other one, right? Where you will own nothing because we don't really own everything. Everything's to share, and you'll be truly happy, but you'll be able to travel anywhere you like without any restrictions. And free will came to me was that most of us think we've got free will, but we haven't, because we're conditioned into automatically reacting to the stuff that's been fed us for a long time. So once you start to see that, right, you do actually, as you release it, you get more freedom of choice, more free will. So really it's about letting go of that containment that we've had, you know. And there's loads and loads of neuroscience behind this, and there's the field of epigenetics, because I see that epigenetics is the shroud, right, the bondage of self that's keeping us really from breaking out of this thing, you know. It's like cocoon, you know, and it's almost like the cocoon's disintegrating now, right, to allow the caterpillar to become the butterfly and to fly off and all that sort of thing.
And that is happening. So to say to own nothing. So I'm starting all of this. Probably what most people don't realize is I haven't got any money. I don't have a job, you know. I've got my Rock and Rose rituals. I make a couple of sales, but it doesn't bring in lots of money yet. So I have a few pennies here and there, and whatever I do, it goes back into that. And I just ask the questions, you know, can we use this space? Can we have it? I still have to find the rent. I haven't got that yet. But what's happening is people are showing up left, right, and center saying, I see what you're doing here. How can I help? I'm good at this. And you know, I'm surrounded by people, angels, helping.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. And I think you get to a state where your faith increases that much and just becomes trust that what's required will be delivered at the right time in the right way. It
is, yeah. And so what a lot hear from a lot of people is they go, I can't do this because this reason. No, it's not the right time. I haven't got the money. I haven't got the resources. I haven't. Just open up and watch what happens. Open.
Yeah. And I have that attitude there. Fuck it, I'm going to give it a go. Excuse my French, but this is who I am. You know, fuck it, I'll go with the flow and see how we go. You know what I mean, and all that sort of stuff. And my life,
yes, and figure it out as on the way. You know,
exactly. Well, how's it going to work? I've no idea, but this is what I feel I've got to do. What do you mean you feel you've got to do? Explain it to me. I can't explain it to you. It's a feeling that I'm having, right? And people say to me, what do you mean? We've got to plan it out. No, we don't. We just have to turn up, put our bums on a seat, open our hearts, and then see what comes. And I honestly know from a quantum physics point of view that when you open your heart, it magnetizes to you what you need at the level of the soul.
It really does. It really does. Yeah, I live in a dream house. I live in a wood cabin up in the trees. It's like a tree house. And where we're opening up the school and the shop, it's 10 minutes walk from my house. You know, and only a couple of years ago, I was living penniless in a van.
Yeah.
So open up, just say yes. You know, I receive messages all the time, like Louise calls it the God voice, call it whatever you want, your inner voice. And I just go, yeah, all right, I'll do that. And then it's then everything shows up.
Same here. That's exactly how I live my life now. And I try and put that onto other people. And yeah, you do have to get used to it. You know, you know, there's a bit of trepidation, but if you've got trepidation, it's really excitement waiting to happen, really. And the great thing is when you step through that fear, right, it's like you get infused then with a whole load more courage.
You do.
And when you take it as well, there's almost like a big infusion of this, but you also get a more of a contentment and a sort of quiet as well, and a sort of an inner sort of, how can I explain it? But it's almost like a kit. It gives you more self-confidence, but it's not self-confidence that you're having to generate in some sort of a yes you can sort of thing. You know, it's a quiet self-confidence that almost like fills you up on the inside. You do become it then, or it becomes you, or whatever that is. And I think what's actually happening is the souls of individuals are like knocking. They're on the inside,
Yeah,
because,
they are,
you know,
yeah.
I don't think that we have a soul in us. I think that we're in the soul, right? And it's
Mhm.
really, it's that that's got to grow up and allow the, it's almost like when you're learning how to dive, you know, deep sea diving.
Yeah,
And when you're going down, the pressure goes on, but you
yeah,
have to adjust the oxygen.
that's
And then
right.
when you've
That's the
plateaued
bit
out
you
at
need
that,
to-
you know, you get confident with it, so you
Yeah,
can go a bit deeper.
yeah,
And that's how I feel it, because it's almost like it descends upon you in a positive way.
yeah,
And for a while, it's a bit like, ooh, hell, what's going on? But
yeah.
then you get the hang on a second, and the deep sea diving instructor said to you, just like turn that knob a little bit. You're
But
right
just
now, yeah.
equalise.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Blow it out your
Yeah,
ears,
blow
right?
it out the ears, yeah.
And
This is
then
what me yeah.
yeah, oh, that's it. There, I've equalised that
I
now.
feel all right now,
Yeah,
really.
and what happens then with that, when you do that though, you shoot up a bit there, you see.
Me and
Yeah.
Lou were talking about this morning, and about adjusting to when you get like the really into the real high frequency. You really do have to adjust, and the space of daily miracles, because it can blow your mind a lot, you know, so it takes some adjustment. And I just love that Lou's always going, and breathe, because that's it, just breathe and know it's all okay. It's all going to be more than okay.
And just for our
Walking
listeners,
barefoot on the earth, can I just say, walking barefoot on the earth every day if you can, or even not walking, just being on the earth barefoot, you know, it's really lets your souls.
very good.
Yeah,
Souls of the souls.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So I agree with you, and anything you can do there at all to reconnect with Mother Earth, because it can take you away, all that stuff, can't it, really?
Yeah, you can feel.
As it's coming in.
Sometimes I feel like I'm high as a kite, you know, like I've smoked something very strong, but you know, it's just every day. So then I know then I have to go and walk on Mother Earth with my bare feet, and I'm fine.
I agree. So there you go. That's how we doing. 8 minutes to go now. What do you want to do next? I think
Play some
let's
music.
talk about, can do, but I was thinking today, I don't know why, but I was thinking about astrology.
Yeah.
And why astrologers, right, pick the time of birth to give readings and not the time of conception. Right.
Ooh.
Because you see, I have this feeling, I've spoken to astrologers about this, but I think that a more accurate reading, right, would come of the time of conception. However, then I
know that though.
Pardon?
How many people would know that?
Well, I don't know, but I mean, I say it, and I could be totally wrong, because I don't really know it. When they put those charts up and say, you know, Jupiter's in Uranus, and I said, I know I can feel it, like, but, you know, and all that, you know, that make the old jokes. But what I got was, no, at conception, it's so important, because what happens at this is what comes in my mind. At conception, what happens is it's like a Polaroid snapshot of the universe at the time you were conceived. And what actually happens is it's a snapshot with all those stars, all those planets, all those comets, all those things. Everything in that one there is like the map of who you are. And what actually happens then is the map folds in on itself and becomes the embryo then, right?
I love this.
And then, because all those are contained in, because we are stardust and we are universal, but it's the snapshot at that time that will determine your soul's purpose, right?
Yeah.
But then I got, well, okay, well, why people don't know this? And I got, because Joe, most people can't remember the conception point.
Yeah,
because they're either drunk, right?
Yeah.
They're either drunk on drugs or on something and stuff like that. So
too stressed to remember. Yeah.
Well,
I'm going to ask my mum this, see if she can remember.
Well, see, well, my mother can't remember now, but she said something about the backseat of a. Anyway, that's another story. But but can you see the point I'm making? Is that
I can.
The emotional state of the partners in that act, right, transfers information, right, to the developing embryo then, right, and we have to spend a lot of our life actually going back and putting that right, you see. So what I got was, if people could only understand that conception in a clean environment, in almost like a sacred space, right, and done with open hearts and love, it would allow this process of cleaning the planet. Now, I'm not like a what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word, but I can see clearly that part of this, right, is about the sacredness, how everything is done with love.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful, because as we know, so many children are conceived out of love, not
And
in,
that's,
you know, in that.
and
Yeah.
I get that in a big way.
Yeah.
Joe, you know that lots and lots of children are conceived, and sometimes in the most horrendous of circumstances, and they go, "Oh Christ, what are you showing me?" Well, those children, right, they need help to basically unlock that energetic process that went on and all that, you know, and that opens up a whole new avenue. And the other thing is, I spoke with a girl called Bev Williams in the week, right, and she looks after children with severe complex needs and stuff like that, you know, and she knows that what we talk about is children who are high on the autistic spectrum, right? And I got the solution is to get them high on the artistic spectrum, right? Because that will unlock all the potential that's in them. And you know, we've talked about this before, is kids who are like that, they tend to have all the energy that's focused on one particular compartment or department, and so they can be prodigious in those areas, but they're not very good socially at all, or sometimes they can't look after themselves hygienically. The stuff that I've been shown is a way to almost like equalize across those 12 fragments, you know, and help them not to lose the abilities, because they'll never lose those, but they'll be able to cope with life and living on earth. So, I mean, it's all fresh. It's coming in all the time, Lisa, and it's coming in that quickly. I don't know how.
I know you've given me a really important piece there, because I know that we won't just be working with the children, we'll be working with the parents. So there's an awful lot to do, awful lot. But yeah, this is very interesting.
Yeah, and Adam's here. He said that astrology goes with the first breath. I mean, that's one feeling. You know, some people think it's a, you know, then we draw it in then and we activate the soul and the spiritual component. Some people think that, you know, some people think that it's at 24 days. Other people think it's at 35 weeks. I don't know the answer. It doesn't really matter. The point is, to me, this is all about energetics and frequencies and stuff, and how a lot of the energy that's trying to come out, right, needs to be let out in a particular way, with almost like a counterposing energy that neutralizes it and creates space for it to sort of come out. You know, there's so much comes into my head that sometimes I have to sit back and think, what are you trying to show me, and can you give it me piecemeal, really? You know,
do you write it down?
I don't, because I mean, sometimes they're coming in that quick. I haven't got time to get a pen and paper, you know, it's just coming in. But what I was told is, don't worry, we'll just keep giving you this until you've got the hang of it, you know. Because someone said to me is, you don't have to worry about going to find information, because the truth will always return.
It does.
You know? Yeah, you don't have to store stuff unless you're lying, so you have to remember what the lie is you're told. You know, so once you stop lying, you can just rely on what's coming in, right, from here, really, is the truth that's coming through, you know.
I've got a terrible memory. I always say to people, like, you can tell me all your secrets. I'm really good at keeping them, because I can't remember anything. But I just know as and when I need stuff. You know, I'm like, all my files have been wiped. You know, a lot of them.
Same with me, and I find sometimes when I'm driving, I think I can't remember how to drive a car, you know, and I'm driving and I'm going along thinking, shit, hang on, what? So obviously I'm in a different dimension with somebody who doesn't drive, and I think, oh, hang on a second, hang on, you know. No, but honestly, I have to sit sometimes to think, you know, I don't know how to drive, and then it comes back, and you know, there's all sorts of strange things going. No, it is, but I know that, like, it's almost like I've got a joker that guides me, and he's like laughing. Oh, didn't you think that was funny, son? I think, fuck off, right? It's dangerous. No, it's not. We're just having a play with you.
Elsa Dillon mentioned something about this. There are these ones that wipe your memory. Her and her children have got a name for them. I can't remember what the name is, but I'm sure, I don't know if she's listening, she'll share it. But yeah, they just pop in, because like they'll just wipe your memory, because you need to just be focused on something else. I don't know the full purpose, but yeah, that does happen.
Well, now that's interesting, that, because I mean, the extraterrestrial thing is, I feel that as well, and you know, and all the planets, and I've been told that I'm sort of mostly infused by the Pleiadian, you know, the Seven Sisters, the Mary Magdalene, the Rose Line, and all, and I go like, fair enough, you know, whatever, right? I'm a commander of the forces of Aramatena, and oh yeah, thanks very much. You know?
Oh, really?
Send us a badge. Send us your badge and give us a hat and send me the logo, you know. But my whole philosophy of life is that I've been taught is none of that matters. Right. If you focus on your feelings, right, and you just work with your feelings, whatever's influence it doesn't matter. And if you feel you're going off kilter, exactly. And the word I love is extemporaneousness, and it means to work beyond memory, you know. So you're spontaneous, it's just coming out, keep the flow going, and the flow will guide you and all will be well. And that's been my personal experience for a long time now. And I think I'm trying to help people to let go of their heads, get into their hearts and go with that, really, you know. And we're all doing it now. The people like you, me, Lou, Kate, you know, Ashley Lee, Todd Medina, all of us, the whole Solargy mob as well, you know, we're all on a different wavelength, right? But I think other people are starting to come up now to the same wavelength, whether they like it or not. And it's almost like people like us expressing it in this way. They'll say, Christ, I'm no longer alone. And I think that's the thing is, when you get that thing to think, oh my God, there are people who think like me, or more or less, you know, then you start to feel part of something bigger then, really. Yeah, and that's a big reason for us doing this as well, isn't it? Because we know what that feels like, to feel like you're completely on your own with this. Oh yeah. And loneliness like few do, you know. There was a time when I felt I was so lonely and that nobody could understand me. And then suddenly I started to listen to other people. And it was almost like, I'm sure my mother's been talking to these people and I got a feeling of, hang on a second, they're sharing their own experience truthfully. And it corresponds with mine. And that's when you meet people. It's almost like you meet a fellowship that you've craved all your life. And you find certain people who you resonate with and vice versa, you know. And I think that's what's happening really in a big way. Sure is. Yeah. So there you go. I love you. I haven't met you. I love you like mad. Right. I love you as well. I can't wait to cuddle the bejesus out of you to see you. And I've got no idea where we're going, but I know and I feel that it is good. It's going to be good. We're on the right length. And I think that the flow is going to start coming in more and more and more now, but be less turbulent and more sort of we're on top of it. It won't be as turbulent. So most people won't have to go through all the shit that we did. No. And I remember when I was going through it, and I gave birth to it 3 times. We'll talk about that another time. But it's I was like, just give it all to me, because I'm not having everyone going through this. We've cleaned up a lot. And most people are not going to go through that sort of what feels like hell. Well, you know, the world has been a bit hellish, but it's going to be a lot easier, a lot faster, a lot smoother. And we're all here. We're all doing it together. Well, I feel that, and somebody said that people like ourselves were called sin suckers. We're almost like Hoovers, you know what I mean? Yes. You know, and you know, I get envious of those who don't have to go through this shit. Oh my God. I feel like saying, have you got any idea what I've gone through? You know. I know, right? Well, I mean, when I was called to the Magdalene, I was literally cleaning toilets. I was cleaning shit. I'm like, what is going on? How am I like this? And I'm cleaning shit every day. Like, exactly. Exactly. I know that feeling, because the worst job I ever had was a window cleaner. I had to go on the window cleaners. Yeah. And I made £8 a morning. That got me a few pints, you know what I mean, when I was really, but it was, you would climb over with these great big aluminium ladders in the middle of winter, and they'd stick to your hand and all that, you know. And then you'd have to climb into someone's backyard who'd have Rottweilers, and you'd be standing in shit and everything. Honest to God, and I used to be thinking, how has my life come to this? You know what I mean? You know, so hey, I know it well. You know what I mean? You know it, yeah. No, I mean, there are times over the years I've been like words with God saying, "You come down here and do this." Yeah. I still say that now. Right. So bless you. There you are, darling. Thanks very much. And thank you, Joe. Thank you, everybody. Thanks very much for listening, everyone. And I hope you got something from that. Right. But if you're going through a tough time and stuff like that, it's just because your head's trying to have you away, you know. So this is the seat of stinking thinking here. So how do you get out of that? Very simply, well, you can just energetically put your hands on your heart, press it with a bit of pressure, and just imagine simply that you're breathing a lovely, gentle feeling through your heart. So, you know, the normal one is, you know, Dr. Joe's little sort of mantra. So you breathe in the light and breathe out the shite. And as you breathe out, just imagine that the gates of your heart are opening and all this gunge is coming out, right, to be cleaned by the universe, you know. So breathe in the light, collect the shite, and then breathe out the shite, you know. And I don't mean to be offensive by using these words, but this is who I am. This is how I speak, right? And hard luck. All right, Lise. Well, thanks, love. And we'll have another one of these at some point when the time is right.
Yeah, love to. Has anyone ever told you look like Eric Clapton?
People have done, yeah.
Just really seeing it today for the first time.
Yeah, I'm a better guitar player than he is, you know.
I believe you. Yeah.
I never knew Layla, but I believe she was a nice person anyway. Right. Wasn't he in Derek and the Dominoes at one point? I don't know what I'm talking about now, but yeah, it was
going a bit further back for me there.
Yeah, Derek and the Dominoes, yeah. So next Friday I'm on with Elsa Dillon.
Oh, lovely.
Right?
Lovely.
Yeah. I love Elsa as well. Don't know her, but you know, we've talked and you know, we've got that resonance and stuff like that, you know.
Oh God, she helps me a lot. Yeah.
Oh, does she? Okay, that's good.
She's amazing.
All right then, and then after that, there's a couple more on, and one's going to be somebody called Make a Pathway Louise, because she's not getting away with it. Okay, so she's on as well.
Get ready.
Yeah. All right, love. Well, love to Dan, and speak to you soon.
Love to. Love you.
And you. Bye, darling.
Good night, Joe.
Bye. Let me out of here. Let me out. Help. There we go.